Don't make it awkward. That's what I used to tell myself every time someone interrupted me, dismissed me, or edged me out of the conversation. After all, I didn't want to be known as, you know that word, difficult. I remember going to the show Money 2020, the preeminent payments conference, and walking the floor. Thousands of influential fintech leaders from all over the world would gather, and as the head of payments at Facebook, I would be the most senior person represented for my company. On the first day, a male colleague and I would walk the floor and meet potential partners. And something kept happening. Subtly, almost imperceptibly, the partner would start edging me out of the conversation, almost physically and verbally moving me back so that I was standing there like a third wheel, and they were speaking exclusively to each other. And this didn't just happen 1 year. It happened 3 years in a row. And I told myself, don't make it awkward. They're just playing the odds, right? But every year on the second day, I went to give the keynote. And the minute I stepped off that stage, suddenly everyone who had ignored me just the day before wanted to talk. This happened throughout my career. When I was the head of product for a big product at PayPal, when I was the executive at Facebook, and even when I was the CEO of Ancestry. This was a familiar story, and maybe it's yours too. I started an organization called Women in Product with over 30,000 members. At one of our Leads dinners in New York, we started swapping stories of similar experiences we had at industry conferences and events. Then and there, we decided we would no longer be dismissed, thought to be lesser, or ignored. We made a pact. Screw it. Let's make it awkward. That marked a turning point for me, because no longer was awkwardness an imposition on someone else, but it became a birthplace of change. But what does making it awkward even mean? Awkwardness is stepping up and stepping into the conversation. It's showing up both physically and verbally and saying, I'm here and worthy of being listened to, even if it makes you a little uncomfortable. Awkwardness takes us to that raw, honest place where the status quo is being challenged. But awkwardness isn't something we're born with. It's something that comes from moments where we're unsure or excluded. It's when we shrink within ourselves. It's when we stop correcting the record. Where does yours come from? Mine started in childhood. I grew up in a small town in the deep South, the child of immigrants, and very few people look like us. I remember strangers coming up to our family on the streets and shouting, "Go back to where you came from." My parents loved America, and they urged us to never listen to their taunts because that would just be giving them our power. Instead, they taught me how to put my head down and be small so that we would not draw attention to ourselves. We were the target of that racial bullying for years, and I learned that the safest way to live was to never engage. But I realized something. Every time I gave a polite silence, every time I let it go, I was actually saying that I was lesser, that I was unworthy of belonging and undeserving of truly being seen. Those lessons were learned the hard way, and I didn't make it awkward. Even when the CEO of a company trying to sell themselves to us spoke only to my male colleague who reported to me and not to me, I didn't rock the boat. Even when they asked me to get refreshments because they thought I was the assistant, I didn't say anything. Even when another executive interrupted me to give an update on my own product, I was silent. Each time I kept telling myself that I was just trying to avoid conflict, when in reality I was giving away my power. Awkwardness is a jolt awake. It forces a challenge to the status quo. Is it uncomfortable? Absolutely. But is it unforgettable? Yes. That moment at Women in Product marked a change in me. It forced me to confront awkwardness. 4 years ago, I stepped into the role as CEO of Ancestry, and I knew I could no longer hide. I needed to learn to lead from the front, or I was doing a disservice to our customers and our employees. I remember going into a meeting with an important consulting firm that was doing a big project for us. As usual, we went around and introduced ourselves. And when I got to my name and my title, the partner on the other side was visibly startled that I would be the CEO. The old me would have not made it awkward and just let it go. I would have stayed silent. But this time I made it awkward, and he had to correct his assumptions leaving that meeting. What I've come to learn is that awkwardness is a spark. It disrupts autopilot. It forces changes to stereotypes. It changes the story so you're no longer written out. So let's make a pact together, right here, right now. No more shrinking, no more staying silent, no more being edged out. From this moment on, when the room goes silent, when the moment feels tense, even as your hands start to shake, let's make it awkward. Thank you.